Well, what did this mean? What did this all mean? What did it come to? Well, that corporations would have the same protections. In other words, speech, freedom of speech. You know? Well, a corporation has freedom of speech. It's even been interpreted in strange ways in some of the recent decisions having to do with elections, that well, corporations have a right to what's called a negative free speech. A recent decision was made that the tobacco companies don't have to put out, the FDA had been working with tobacco companies and had been working to create new illustrations for cigarette packages that would be more graphic. You know, people have gotten used to kind of ignore that old sort of general determined stuff. So they were going to put actual pictures of diseased lungs and so on. Well, the court decided that the corporation had the right, because of its free speech rights, not to associate itself with speech that it didn't want to. Because of these corporate personhood decisions, corporations can say whatever they want. They don't have to be held to any standard of honesty. They're not answerable to us. You know, when you look at the creation of our country, we've got the people. The people are sovereign. The people create the government. The people have rights that are intrinsic, right? That we can't lose them. They belong to us. They're not given to us by government, but government recognizes them. The government that we created. Government has no rights. Government has responsibilities, duties, and such privileges as the people granted. Now, what's originally meant, now, when you look at which side of this a corporation should be on, well, a corporation is an organization or structure, it's a social structure, that was created by people. It doesn't have rights. It has no natural rights that are born into it. It wasn't born, right? So the corporation has taken has been placed on the wrong side of this. Corporation doesn't have rights. The corporation has duties and privileges. So Move to Amend is a national coalition that actually began right before the infamous 2010 Citizens United decision that put these things together, some of these previous rulings, and said that, well, money is speech. That's how, since corporations have freedom of speech, well, how do they express that speech? They express it through spending money, right? So the decision was made in that case that corporations and wealthy individuals as well could put as much money as they wanted to into electioneering, political advertising. You know, the last presidential election, we saw all these attack ads, and you couldn't really, there was no at the end, I'm Barack Obama and I approve this message, or I'm Mitt Romney. It was some little thing that went by very quickly, and you didn't really know who was behind this attack ad. Well, that's as a result of the Citizens United decision that was built on this idea of corporate personhood. Now, I don't want to go on talking for too much longer, but I want to say that Move to Amend is a national coalition of organizations and individuals that has been working to create a new constitutional amendment. One that states unequivocally that corporations are not persons, and they do not have the rights of natural human beings. And that money is not speech. Money is not speech. Money is a thing. Money is, something we use to buy commodities. We are not commodities, although it seems like the corporations want to buy and sell us these days. So what we've got is a situation where we've got virtual corporate rule by now in this society. You know, who influences the Congress? Who influences our lawmakers? Those who make contributions. I'm not going to go on too much about that because Ursula is going to speak on that. We're going to have several of our members come up and talk with you, give a little brief testimony about some issue that they are concerned about, and how it affects them and us. So I just want to, in closing, say that Move to Amend is working hard to get such an amendment passed. We have affiliates all across the country. We have had hundreds of thousands of people sign our petition, which you can get online, in fact. You can go to movetoamend.org and find the petition.
And at the back or something. And at the back, too.
And at the back, we have paper petitions as well. One of the ways that Move to Amend has been doing this is to have local communities and to pass resolutions in support of this, and in fact, calling on their state legislators to call upon the Congress to create such an amendment. That's one of the ways that an amendment is created, when state legislatures call on Congress to either do this or we'll have a constitutional convention, which a lot of people are scared about, but that's not our goal. We think that if we get enough support, Congress will have to, in order to avoid a constitutional amendment, a constitutional convention, which they certainly want to do, will be forced to create this amendment. So our immediate goal is to have a resolution passed in the Syracuse Common Council. And one of our counselors is here tonight, Lance Deno. Lance, would you wave to the folks, please? Where is he? I heard that you're here. Okay. And we are going to be introducing, Lance is going to be introducing for us a resolution into the Common Council. So we are going to call on you for support of this resolution when the time comes. Okay, make sure we have your information. If you can give us your phone number, your email on this, you can take part. All you need to do is give your counselor a quick call and say, we're in favor of this resolution. Also, at this point, 12 states have called upon Congress, officially, 12 state legislatures have passed resolutions calling on Congress for such an amendment that would overturn Citizens United. That's pretty good in such a short time. Now, one thing I'll say about Move to Amend, you probably see a lot of organizations out there kind of jumping on this issue and saying, sign our petition to overturn Citizens United. Move to Amend thinks that overturning Citizens United doesn't go far enough. We need an amendment that says a corporation is not a person, to eliminate once and for all this notion of corporate personhood. So if you want to know the difference between Move to Amend and some of the other organizations and individual senators and Congress people on this issue, that's it. We're holding to that line of a corporation is not a person, and the amendment needs to say that. So thank you for coming, and we look forward to your support.